It didn't take nearly as long as we expected. They didn't waste any time. Yes, yesterday. The Eagles fired Kevin Patullo, let him go, whatever you want to call it. The Eagles are in search for a new offensive coordinator. We are going to break it down, who they should go after, what kind of coordinator they should go after. What do you want in your next coordinator? We're going to talk all about it. Plus, Sixers play Cavaliers tonight. And Phillies, Bo Bichette. Update on rumors. What do we know? Trending in the AM. We are live this Wednesday morning taking your thoughts and opinions in 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome all to Trending in the AM, right here on the STT Sports Network. We are live, YouTube and Twitter. You know the drill. Wherever you watch, please, whether it's live or on replay, hit the buttons on your screen, the like button, the share to one of the social media platforms you have. Subscribe to the channel. It matters. It's free to support a local channel, as we are so close to that first 1,000 mark, literally 23 away. Starting today at 9:77. So please like, subscribe, share, do it. Please help me get to this goal. I'd greatly appreciate it. I'm Phil Stiefel. And as Thanos says he is inevitable, so was the inevitability of Kevin Patullo being let go as offensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles. Knew it was happening, saw it was happening. Guess what? It happened. No surprise, no shock. So, yeah. Absolutely. We're in a good mood today as Eagles fans because the disaster and bad decision that was Kevin Patullo has ended. It's over. Not going to happen again, okay? So that was obvious, right? Now, what's not so obvious is, starting with our poll question of the day on YouTube. Who should be the next offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles? And I put, you get 4 options on YouTube. Who should be the coordinator? Option A, Frank Reich. Option B, Todd Monken. Option C, Brian Daboll. Or option D, other, because I've got a dozen plus names written down here. So there could be so many names. Who do you want to take over? I think it's a big question. Let's dive right into the comments because I'm sure a lot of the comments are going right towards this conversation. So let's get into it. Little G, good morning to you. Duck with all his pre-show comments. Selected Monken over Daboll because he has never been OC. Both those guys have been OC, for sure. McDaniels, you know my opinion. I don't want McDaniels. But besides that, McDaniels is going to be a head coach. I guarantee it. Kingsbury is going to be a head coach as well. Plus, I think his system would frustrate Eagles fans. Zach Robinson is also intriguing. Get a head coaching position. Yeah, he's not even on my list. Stefanski also will get a head coaching position. Passing game coordinator for the Lions. Yeah, I have his name. His name's on my list. He's not my top 5, but I think that's an avenue to look. That's one of the wild card directions to look in. LaFleur, yeah, I don't want LaFleur 1 year. He hasn't gotten fired yet. Plus, he would be a 1-year rental. We want somebody that's going to be here a little while. Good morning, Elephant in the Room. Barb's in the house. Good morning. Monken would probably go with Harbaugh. That is possible. I mean, Harbaugh literally, it's rumors say Harbaugh got fired because he wouldn't fire Monken. So that is a possibility. But I look at 2 of my top 3 choices are the coordinators that have coordinated Lamar Jackson MVPs, Monken and Greg Roman. Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts are similar and different. But what you saw, the flexibility with those offenses to utilize the skill set of Lamar Jackson the best, I want guys that know how to do that, how to be creative with what we've got. And I think Greg Roman and Todd Monken are 2 of those top choices. I want Mike Tomlin. You want to fire Nick Sirianni and go get Tomlin. Yes, Mike Tomlin retired. See, now you can't just hire Mike Tomlin. The Pittsburgh Steelers still own his rights because he retired. Okay? So if you want Mike Tomlin, if any organization wants Mike Tomlin, they got to work out a trade with Pittsburgh, which is very interesting. Good morning, Adam. Yes, 977, 23 subscribers from 1,000. Like, subscribe, share. Let's get there. A long time. Yeah. What do you think Harbaugh is headed? I don't know where Harbaugh is headed. Originally, I thought the Giants would be a spot. Maybe he goes to Cleveland. Maybe he stays in the North. What's up, Sports Rush? How you doing? Kyle Tucker. There is a Kyle Tucker Phillies rumor starting to circulate. As the Bo Bichette rumors dry up a little bit, now there's Kyle Tucker rumors. Let me tell you something. If you've been watching my programs all over the last 2 years, you know I want Kyle Tucker so bad. Dude, you think I would have done backflips with Bo Bichette? Give me Kyle Tucker. Dude, I don't know what I'll do. Voted other for Adam. Yeah, I mean, other is going to get a lot of votes in this poll. Early on in the voting, Brian Dable's getting a lot of votes, and I love that because, honestly, I think Brian Dable makes a lot of sense as our offensive coordinator. Good morning, Robert. How you doing? Where's Turner coming from? I thought we were on the Bo Bichette watch. Now, all of a sudden, there's one or two little inklings of rumors that Kyle Tucker might be available. Falcons, Giants, and Titans are begging him. You know what I love about the John Harbaugh process is teams aren't just interviewing him. He's interviewing them because he's got the cred, the street cred. Or no. I got to interview you. Do I want to come to you? It's not do you want me. Everybody wants me. John Harbaugh can say, what do you think about this? And I love that. Sirianni can't ask for any coach ever again in his time with the Eagles. He can't. But he can have influence over it. It's got to be a conversation how he has to have with him and Hurts. What would work best? Here's my names. What do you think? It's got to be a cumulative effort, Duck. Going to the Blue Jays or Red Sox. Yeah, those rumors are starting to heat up. Dable worked with Hurts at Alabama. Absolutely. So there's a connection there. He obviously had a huge part in turning Josh Allen from a questionable draft pick into a young stud. Then he obviously, whatever, in Buffalo, they haven't won anything yet. But he was a huge part of Josh Allen's development. Obviously, he was saddled with Daniel Jones and a terrible GM with the Giants. It's going to take Brian Dable 2 or 3 years before he gets another head coaching opportunity. So he might be here for a few minutes. Just saying. I think it's a good option right there. Voted other for OC. I say Doug Peterson, or I heard some say Phillip Rivers because he was a quarterback. No on Phillip Rivers. No on Nick Foles. None on all of that. Okay. Doug Peterson's on my list. He's an honorable mention. I don't think they go the Dougie P route. I don't think that Doug P would go the OC route. I think Doug P might be done as a coach unless somebody offers him a head coaching position. McDaniel's a wimp. Guys, I can't stand Josh McDaniel or Mike McDaniel. Can't stand him. Heard Bichette going to the Blue Jays. Those rumors started to creep up yesterday afternoon since nothing happened. I think the Phillies are still the front runner for him. But God, if they could get Bichette or Tucker, things change. Things change. Happy Hump Day, Jim. That's right. Is Hump Day still a thing? Eagles need an OC? Yes. Greg Roman just got fired to lots of job openings. Absolutely. And look, even Greg, just think about it. Greg Roman was fired by the Chargers. Do you know how many offensive coordinators they have fired there in Justin Herbert's tenure? Yet Justin Herbert still gets all the excuses in the world. I think it's crazy. It would be funny if Harbaugh went to Pittsburgh after him going to Pittsburgh or Cleveland would be great, Adam. Where he goes, Falcons, I think, are really making a push, and I think that's becoming a real possibility. Obviously, the Giants are going to make a push, but if I'm John Harbaugh evaluating teams, I'm not picking the Giants with that GM. If they want me, they got to fire that GM. Otherwise, I wouldn't go there. No way, shape, or form. Greg Roman, he's not leaving to be a head coach. I agree. Greg Roman would be here for a very long time. I think Greg Roman is a great choice Him and Monken, 1, 2 on my list, okay? And Dable, 3. That is my list. Now, obviously, Frank Reich's name's going to pop up a lot on here and elsewhere over the next couple weeks till they decide on who to hire. Frank Reich's not a bad choice. Frank Reich would be the safe choice, in my opinion. And I think if you can't get Roman or Monken or Dable, then Frank Reich would be the obvious 4th choice on my list. Roman, he could even get top 5 quarterback Herbert to a playoff victory. Yeah, exactly. I feel if the Phillies offer $3,150 to Kyle Tucker, should seal the deal. That is a lot. Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I think Kyle Tucker wants like a 8 to 10 year deal. He's not getting it. I think the Blue Jays have a 7-year deal on the table for him. I heard the Yankees are offering a very, very short term $50 million per year deal. So I doubt that's, realistically what he will do. If there's a 7-year deal on the table for Tucker from the Blue Jays, the Phillies are not afraid to give out long contracts. Maybe they up it to 8 and get him. I don't know. What's up, Rick? Good morning to you. Bo Bichette rumors haven't dried up. Oh, I'm not saying they've dried up, but what I meant when I said dried up, it's not just like going into yesterday, it was just the Phillies in on him. By late yesterday afternoon, a couple of our teams, you start to hear some inklings. Maybe that was just leaks from his camp to get the deal done with Philly. Who knows? But the Phillies are still definitely in on Bo Bichette. Bluffing to force JT into a decision. Sometimes your bluffs get called too. Don't forget that. Keep Dable out of here. That dude is a boob. Well, that's how I feel about McDaniels. But I think Dable. I think he's worked with a lot of different quarterbacks. He's worked with Jalen Hurts. He developed Josh Allen. I don't think Dable is as bad of a choice as you think. He was terrible as the head coach of the Giants. There's no doubt that. Mets offered Tucker 50. It was Mets. I thought it was Yankees. Maybe it was the Mets. $50 million. I think it was a year for like a 2 or 3 year deal or something like that. Frank Reich is the safest choice out there. You know what you get with him. He's not going to have that intention to be a head coach anytime soon. A veteran voice, has a relationship with Nick Sirianni already. So the respect factor is there. It's a possibility. Guys, we're already over 20 concurrent viewers. If you haven't, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel and vote on our poll question and drop your comments on who should be the next OC. Dable benched Hurts at Alabama. Actually, he did not bench him. Nick Saban benched him. Nick Saban's the one who made the benching. But they had a great relationship before that. How it is now, I don't know. Whether they've kept in contact, I don't know. But they did get to the national championship game before the benching with that Dable-Hurts duo. So, there's a relationship there. There's a connection there. Needs to be gone post-June 1st. We will see. We'll see what the new offense coordinator looks like first before I finalize that opinion. Blue Jays offered Tucker a 7-year deal. Yes. He hasn't signed it. Like JT's got a 2-year deal from the Phillies. They all want more. They're all looking for more. And I read an interesting piece. I forget who it was by. Might have been by Matt Gelb. But it was discussing about how the Phillies don't mind offering extra years. They don't necessarily offer the extra money per year, but the extra years in the contract. And that's why they get a lot of these guys. So maybe they up it to an 8 or 9 year deal and get Tucker. I'd be over the moon. The conversation when it came to coaching with Sirianni is to tell him to sit in the corner and drink his coffee while the adults talk. Now, he's going to have some conversations in there, too. I like Roman. I think Roman's a great idea. McDaniel not coming here. Fangio despises the guy. I agree. I've been saying that since day one, that rumor started 12 weeks ago. And he never got fired from Miami back then, right? Plus, he is going to be a head coach. McDaniel and Harbaugh, if they want to coach, will be head coaches in 2026. There's no doubt in my mind that Atlanta, Tennessee, one of these teams, the Giants, one of these teams is going to take McDaniels on. Rich, the hell is wrong with you, Jim? You smoking something this morning? Come on. Normally it's Rick with the nonsensical high-ass comments. Are you high or something? Come on. Nick Foles and Rivers need to be the quarterback coordinator or pass. Yeah, exactly. I'm not even sure Philip Rivers coaches yet. Philip Rivers enjoys coaching at high school right now to be close to home with the kids, but I think he got a little taste of it in his little return here, so I do think it'll be close, but I don't want that here. If you've got a young team with a new young head coach, maybe someone that's going to call the plays on offense, hires one of them to be the OC, but you don't want to be either of those guys first-time play. You need an experienced play caller. Roman, Dable, Wright, Munkin. These guys are experienced play callers. That's what you want. I do not know if Foles, Frank has it still. He has struggled ever since he left. Yeah, look, Frank Reich, that would be my, that's why I say he's a safe pick. You don't know what you're going to get, but you know you're going to get consistency. But does he really still have it? I don't know. He's not that old yet, but I don't know. We need a modern offensive mind. I agree to that. Yes, hump day is still a thing. That's good. I mean, it'll always be a thing. But those commercials really overdid it back in the day. Hurts will be here until 29-30, I heard, because he has 117. I mean, his contract's actually going to be here longer than that, Barb, because he is eligible to be restructured this offseason. He's down to like the 12th highest paid quarterback in the NFL or something like that. They will find a way to give him a slight pay bump to stretch out and lower his his cap hit over the next couple of years so you can sign all these guys. You know Howie Roseman loves to renegotiate deals. His deals are eligible for renegotiation. You only got about 18 to 20 million in cap space right now. And that will be the first of many dominoes of renegotiations this offseason. So Howie Roseman has $40 or $50 million to work with to get this team back to contention. Frank Reich should be the hire here. Look, I don't hate it. Again, he's fourth on my list. He's the safest pick. I think he's got the least amount of question marks. He also has, I think, the lowest ceiling. We could win the Super Bowl maybe with Frank Reich. We'll definitely continue to make the playoffs regularly with Frank Reich. There's a lot less boom-bust potential with Frank Reich. I just don't know if the game has passed him by. It's like McDaniels can't come to Philly because it's too cold to wear short pants. Yeah. Falcons are the better team when compared to the Giants. Yeah, short term maybe. I don't know about Penix. They don't really have a quarterback situation, in my opinion. They've got obviously a great running back and wide receiver. They have a free agent tight end. I don't know. Maybe the Falcons are okay. I feel we don't want Tomlin and should go to Atlanta as they are good. Tomlin isn't going anywhere unless he's traded, okay? Tomlin resigned, so he was still under contract, so the Pittsburgh Steelers still own his rights. If he wants to coach elsewhere, they have to also make a trade for him. What about Deuce Staley coming back? He was here before. I'll write his name on the list. But Deuce has never called plays. Everybody hyped Deuce up and said losing Deuce as a running back coordinator and not giving him a promotion years ago was going to be this massive backfire thing. And I just don't get it. He's left here and he's never gotten any real promotions. Deuce Staley to me strikes me as a CEO head coach candidate, not an offensive coordinator, not a play caller. Leave Frank Reich alone. Do you mean like I should talk better about him or don't bring him here? What are you talking about there in that situation? Why would Harbaugh go to New York? That place is a dump. I didn't say he would. I say I know they're making a big push for it. I just know they got the money to throw his way, and they like to make the big splash moves there in New York. Frank Reich. Another vote for Frank Reich. Who finally coached the Steelers? I don't know who's going to coach the Steelers. Is the Steelers' job even an attractive job? You might have Aaron Rodgers. If not, you got nothing. You got Kenny Gainwell. What else do you got in Pittsburgh? Tucker, you do get job security in Pittsburgh. Tucker isn't getting more than 4 years from anyone at his age. I'd be shocked if he doesn't get more than that. I really would. Guys, lots of people still watching. I just looked. There's only 10 likes on the video, guys. 20 votes on the poll, but only 10 likes. Guys, hit that like button. We've been crushing it this week. Let's keep crushing it. Tucker doesn't make much sense, in my opinion. Look, it would make even more left-handers in this lineup. Absolutely. You'd have to make more moves. You'd have to make counter moves to it. Absolutely. But Tucker is an elite hitter. Torn on Dable, but the Giants will make anyone look bad. Exactly. Look at everyone that's left the Giants. Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley. How did they look? The Giants are just a shitty organization. All right? I don't know. He was obviously got that giant stank on him, right? But his work as OC with Josh Allen trumps that, in my opinion. All he's got to do is work with Jalen Hurts. He doesn't got to run the whole team here. He's got to work with Jalen Hurts, take that next step, and get back to MVP form and get this offense rolling again. He can focus on a singular task, and I think that's the way to go. Do you feel we should keep? Well, of course we're keeping Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts ain't going anywhere. A.J. Brown, I'm torn. I'm like 50-50 on it. Really am, right? He's a weasel. He calls drama, but he's an elite-ass wide receiver that is going to cost you a ton to get rid of. I wait and see what the new OC says and looks like before I make my final decision on what they should do with A.J. Brown. Steelers own Tomlin. Is it 2 more years? I wasn't sure the exact, but yes, exactly. So you gotta make a trade for him. And look, maybe a team does do that, Barb. But I don't know. I think Mike Tomlin rides off the sunset, maybe goes and gets a TV gig. I don't know. Come on. Hit those buttons. Let's go. If the Phillies get Kyle Tucker, does he bat before or behind? Like, well, you would have to figure out what you do with Schwarber, Tucker, and Harper. Lefty, lefty, lefty. How do you break that up? Now, all 3 of them are such elite hitters that it would be almost like, I don't care that they're triple lefties in the lineup there. But, yeah, that would be interesting. You'd have to figure. My original plan was to let Kyle Schwarber walk and give all the Kyle Schwarber money to Kyle Tucker. And then you wouldn't have had this problem. Then you could have gotten Tucker and maybe Bo Bichette and bounced the lineup out. Kellen Moore was mid as the OC in L.A. before he came here. Dable might be the one. Absolutely. That's a great point. I was thinking about, Greg Roman getting fired out there in L.A. Think about the offensive coordinators Justin Herbert's had. Shane Steichen, arguably. We all want Shane Steichen to get fired to come back here, right? Kellen Moore, head coach now. Gave Jalen Hurts and us our Super Bowl victory, right? Greg, the amount of elite offensive coordinator minds as we think he is, and they are, all couldn't get Justin Herbert to succeed. That's a Justin Herbert problem, right? Or all these coaches just bad, really, because they couldn't get Justin Herbert together. Phillies go get Bichette. What do you want? What do you do with Stott? Do you trade him? You most likely trade Bohm. You could trade Stott and Sosa otherwise. Personally, I would trade Bohm, and you put Bichette at third, and you've got an infield of Bichette, Turner, Stott, and Harper. That is the most likely outcome, in my opinion. My question is, where do you bat them? Do you bat them 4, or do you split up? Do you go Schwarber, Harper, Bichette, or do you go Harper, Bichette, Schwarber? That would be the question for me. Eagles should move on from Hurts. He's reached his ceiling here. Ridiculously, no. I disagree. He has not reached his ceiling here. And I don't even think he's close. Well, I mean, the ceiling is winning a Super Bowl, right? So win a Super Bowl, discard him, and let's find someone else to win a Super Bowl. He's reached the ultimate ceiling, the championship, the MVP of the championship. So, yeah, Jalen Hurts has reached his ceiling here, right? Now he's going to reach it again and again and again and again. That's the new goal. There's also rumors out there that Tucker doesn't love baseball. We all saw that worked out with Anthony Rendon. I did not hear that rumor. I think AJ will be fine here for at least another year with a new pass-centric offense. I agree. I hope we sign Tucker, as we need a top outfielder. Dude, that would be great. Just go all in. Go get Tucker and Bichette right now. Duck hates Sirianni the same way Pump hates. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. The Phillies buy every player out there, but so far no championship. That's fine. I mean, you can't. I mean, the Dodgers buy their championships. I bet you no one in L.A. complains about that. Yes, Joel Embiid has been playing next level ball. Now the question is, can he stay healthy? I'm Monday. We'll have Sean Bernard on talking NBA trade deadline, which is like 3 weeks away. I want a backup center. Okay, I want more depth at center at the trade deadline, because right now this season will be successful if Embiid continues to play. If Joel Embiid gets hurt, which can always happen, I don't trust Drummond and Bona to carry the load for a long period of time. So another depth piece at center is what my biggest target is. You know what to do with kids when adults are talking? Here's some Legos. You can make decisions. Oh, my God. Mike Kafka is on my list. He actually landed number 5 on my list, Marshawn. All right? Worked with a lot of different quarterbacks, okay? He is on my list. And he was the interim coach for the Giants the last couple weeks of the season, and their offense actually went up when he took over. Embiid is looking like he did 4 years ago. It's crazy. Now let's just keep maintaining it, right? Gets too much disrespect in the city, sign of uneducation. So does Jalen Hurts get too much disrespect. That is also a sign of uneducation. Tomlin should take a year off and see what jobs open up next year. Do what Sean Payton did and find a commentator job and then get back into it. I agree, Soldier Steve. I do. Great work, Steve, on last night's Fairway to Heaven, by the way. Your face is on a lot of the shorts this week. I think Mattingly will coach the Phillies if when Thompson gets fired. That was my original thought process, Barb. But then there was the quotes from Mattingly and Thompson where both of them kind of said, I'm paraphrasing here, but both said that they wanted to work together really bad. That Mattingly only wanted to come back if it was to work with Thompson. Thompson's wanted Mattingly on his bench for a while. So, yeah. I don't hate him. I don't care enough about Sirianni to hate him. He's the equivalent guy, the EQ guy, because he has proven he's not the IQ guy. What's up, Jonathan? Says other. No more Andy Reid connections. Doug Peterson, Patullo, rumored to remain with the Eagles. We're going to get to that in a second. New OC must have smarter smarts than Nick. Yeah. So Patullo is not. I know there's rumors that Patullo would stay. But if you read the quote from Nick Sirianni, okay, I have no doubt he will continue to have a successful coaching career. Okay? That spells out that he's not staying here. The way Nick Sirianni phrased his quote. Hear me out. What's up, Keith, by the way? How you doing? I wish the Eagles would have more dynamic on offense this season, but that's not why they failed. This team played behind the sticks far too often. Very undisciplined play. I agree. You're not wrong there. Even McVay wears the capris. OC won't fix sloppy play, and that is true. And I have said that it's Patullo had to go. Patullo had to fall on the sword, right? But it doesn't mean that he was the sole problem this year at all. If you want Patullo to be an OC, get a real OC and make him an assistant OC. Yeah, I mean, if Patullo's job will be maybe even as an OC for a pass play calling head coach. He can be a pass game coordinator again. He can be an OC again where he doesn't have to call plays. I'm sure he's got a great offensive mind. That's what someone would say about a person they hate. Steelers are a full rebuild starting from yesterday, so the OC will get to build it up his way. Yeah, Tucker will be 29 in a few days. He can get 5 years. Yeah, he's not that old. Actually, I thought he was 30, but 29, whatever. I mean, he could get an 8-year deal, and he'd still be younger than Harper at the end of his deal. Head coach would also know he would have a nice long runway to build that team. That is the good thing about Pittsburgh. You get longevity potential there. Giants organization has a poor internal support system since Mara died. Bring in Jason. No, stop. I heard Jason Garrett was getting head coaching interviews, and I threw up in my mouth. That's why I said 4 years he will be burnt or get another nice contract after that. Sirianni will be fired in the near future if the nonsense around this team continues. Yeah, or if they keep winning, then he'll stay, right? If AJ likes the new OC, he might stay. So you're saying it's up to him? It's not up to him. Brian Daboll was a very good OC and quarterback coach and failed as a head coach. It's a typical story and why it's so hard to hire the hot OC is you absolutely agree. And that's why Brian Daboll's on the top of my list. Well, one of the names on the top of my list. I think Brian Daboll as our OC would be phenomenal. Give Tanner a chance to compete for quarterback one or bring in Rodgers. I want a real quarterback controversy. My God. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Tomlin ain't going anywhere unless he gets traded. He's going to stay on the sidelines. Does the Phillies sign Framber Valdez or Zach Gallen or Ranger Suarez on a short? Maybe they get one of those guys on a short. The fact that it is January 14th and there's so many free agents still. I mean, I feel like this happens more and more every year. Maybe they do get one of those guys. Are we still wasting time on Bo Bichette? Maybe. Rest of the Super Bowl in Pittsburgh, a.k.a. the Sheets Super Bowl. Oh. Turner, Harper, Bichette, Schwarber. Yeah, I mean, that's probably how I would do it. We know Schwarber doesn't like hit and clean up, but that's probably what I would do. Jalen Hurts' ceiling is Super Bowl MVP. Yeah, I mean, he's already reached. He has reached. I mean, Rick's not wrong, Anthony, okay? Hurts has reached his ceiling. Super Bowl MVP. And now he's going to try to reach it again. LA doesn't have football fans. They have basketball. They don't have any fans, honestly. Let's be honest. Firing KP this soon tells you how they feel about both his performance and its impact on the players. Absolutely. They waited 8 or 9 days to fire Brian Robinson back after the 23 season. They didn't make that decision quickly, right? And here we are, 2 days, gone. Not even 48 hours, gone. That's the right thing to do because they see 9 head coaching openings. They see 11 offensive coordinator openings. They know that they want to get the guy they want. And honestly, the Eagles' opening becomes very attractive for a lot of people. Embiid might not stay healthy. That's why I kind of want more depth at center. Nick Foles should have a job in the building. Should have a job in the building. Not as the offensive coordinator, Marshawn. Not as the offensive coordinator. Will you get upset if the Phillies sign Realmuto and Ranger Suarez, and that is all they add? Yeah, because it means we're just going to be the same old, running it back. I mean, they signed Ranger and Realmuto. They legitly are running it back. Which one by Nooms was a good point? Firing KP, the firing KP thing. Absolutely. Phil, the sad point is the Dodgers win championships and the Phillies fly banners. Yeah, no, I agree. I wanted massive shakeups, Barb. Said it all offseason. Massive shakeups needed with the Phillies. Right now, it's just the same old. And that's why they're going to be the same old. Win games and not come up clutch in the end. Plain and simple. I don't think Sirianni's a great head coach, but I can't argue with his success. I just know he can't pick an OC. That's the only, his biggest flaw is he can't pick an OC. Plain and simple. Cubs spent 1 year with Tucker and in the end had zero interest bringing him back. So I believe the rumors that he's not in love with playing baseball. I don't know. Maybe. Only thing Joe is struggling with now is sliding his feet laterally. But even that is slowly coming back. Absolutely. Bet it's Kingsbury. Look, Cliff Kingsbury, hot offensive coordinator name. If he's not a head coach, he'll be a head coach the following year. So it would be a 1 year rental, Cliff Kingsbury. So that's point one on Kingsbury. Okay, he'll either be a head coach or he'll be soon. So you're getting very short term. Okay, that's reason one. Reason two, honestly, his style of offensive play calling is we want more motion, we want more under center, we want more play action. That's not Kingsbury is more shotgun spread formation type offense. Now, he does like up tempo, which is something I like. I don't know if Kingsbury is the right fit for the personnel we have here. Yeah, maybe. What's up, K1? Bazunu Wednesday. Thank you very much. We had a great time last night. Jason, Steve, and I. A lot of great information on Fairway to Heaven last night. But Kingsbury got fired. He did he got let go from Washington. Yeah, fired, let go, whatever. Parted ways, whatever you want to call it. He's available. Tucker has regressed the last 2 years. I'd be careful with him. Okay. I have to look into that. Not sure if he has or not. I never thought we had a real chance, so just like I never did a Bo Bichette deep dive, Barb, I never did a Tucker deep dive early in the offseason because I thought those things were just dreamland for me. The hope is the shed weight is what Joe can maintain and has enough of an impact on us. I hope so. While he's out there, the Sixers are a legit contender, and he's only getting better. When do I think? I wouldn't be shocked if we have our new OC in the next 3 to 5 days. By the early part of next week, if not sooner, I think they do it. They made a quick decision on KP, like Noom says, because they know how big of an impact he had in a bad way, but also because there are 9 to 11 offensive coordinator openings. They want their guy, and they want their guy now. They don't want to wait. They don't want to miss out. If they want Dable, they want Dable. They want Greg Roman. Is it a surprise that Greg Roman gets fired by the Chargers and literally an hour later they make the KP announcement? I don't think so. What? Many guys in the MLB are holding out for longer contracts with the lockout looming. I do think the lockout looming is playing a factor on a lot of guys not signing yet. I really do. So why is TJ not signed his contract yet? Absolutely. Obviously, he's not getting any other offers. Oh, JT. Yeah, absolutely agree. When the Nashville Predators played it, the Edmonton Oilers internet called it the Diddy Bowl. What? That's a brilliant and scary. Yeah. Did Sirianni throw his buddy under the bus, or is it it's a part of the business? Sirianni knew he couldn't keep him. Sirianni knew there was no way that KP could be brought back. Zero chance of that. Okay? No other team offered JT any. Nobody did. If I'm the Phillies, I'm pulling my offer and lowering it at this point. Guys, please, we only got 16 likes on the video. Hit the like button, subscribe, share, vote on the poll question, guys. I'm almost caught up on comments. You really are a funny guy. Funny what? Like a clown? Does he amuse you? They should hire Nick Foles to clean the toilet. Stop. Why he walked away from the commies. Look, there was obviously disagreements there between how to run that team between him and what's his name? Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn could have kept Kingsbury and said, look, we had injuries this year. We just didn't perform. Next year will be better. But he chose to make that move. And it's weird to me. It really is. Because it seemed like Daniels and the offensive players wanted Cliff Kingsbury to stick around. So the Birds actually seemed pretty concerned with taking juice away, and it definitely led to a few breakdowns here and there. So you think the Sixers try to trade Embiid since he's playing? No, I think they play it out still with Embiid. All right, but I do think that they need to get a trade or make a trade for another center. I do. Because you look at it, they're going to maintain his health this year as best they can. He's going to have rest days, right? If he goes down from the rest days, from the offense, and from the way the Sixers look as a team, when he sits on his rest days, like the other night against Toronto, Andre Drummond and Adem Bona both can't play. Drummond's good for certain matchups as a backup to Embiid, not a starter. Adem Bona is good in certain matchups as a backup into Embiid, but can't play 25, 30 minutes. At least not yet. So you need a center who can go out there, maybe a cross between a little mixture of a Bona and Drummond. I don't know who that is. I don't know who's available. But you need to go out and get somebody that can start and play 25 minutes 10 times. And that's it. He only plays when Embiid's not. And then if something happens to Embiid and Embiid gets hurt for an extended period of time, you don't fall off because you've got this guy. I don't know who the perfect backup to Embiid is. But if he's out there, you need to go get him. I read all your comments. I do. Duck is probably because of Josh Allen. You do know that sometimes there is comments that don't show up. I do read every comment that shows up on my screen. In what ways could the Phillies pitching staff be affected if JT Realmuto? Massively. Obviously, JT Realmuto is still one of, if not the best, defensive catchers and catchers at calling baseball games, right? He does things that nobody else does. And unless you go out, if you lose JT, you're going to have to trade an asset or give decent money to somebody else because you can't go into the season with Marchand and Stubbs as your only two catchers. We would take, losing his bat, it would suck, but whatever. Losing his defense, that would hurt this team. You might see a regression from a Chris Sanchez or a Jesus Luzardo if JT Realmuto is not here. Andrew Painter's going to be coming up this year. You want him to develop into the stud he's supposed to be. You need JT Realmuto here. JT Realmuto, you can argue retaining him, as long as it's at the right price, is as important, if not more important, than Bo Bichette. They don't want another Gannon Fangio debacle. Are you talking about with Washington? You were saying, Marchand? Yeah. I think the Rendon saga will play a part in player negotiations for quite a while. I think that might have been the worst contract. Yeah, we all knew that was a bad contract. Kingsbury seems reasonable fit. Worked well with a young Daniels, and we would be a great way for him to a head coach like Quinn. Look, yeah. Great way for him to head coaching job. Yes, but it would be pretty quickly. So you'd have him for a 1-year deal. Look, I think Kingsbury I wouldn't be pissed off if Kingsbury's the guy. Let me put it that way. I don't think it's the worst pick. Out of the head coaching candidates, him, McDaniels, some of the other names that Stefanski, I think he would be the best fit here out of them. But he would be a very short-term fix at the position or at the coaching spot. Sirianni needs to get the Nepo buddy stink off of him as quick as possible and didn't want to go the way of Super Bowl winning head coaches like Dougie P. and Harbaugh. Exactly. He reads the tea leaves, right? Hey, if I don't do what's right for the team, friendship or not, I'm out of job. Duck, that game Sunday was a nightmare in every way. It was an absolute nightmare, Barb. Absolute nightmare. Would you rather have Valdez plus qualifying offer or Ranger Suarez? Depends on the years. Depends on the contract terms. I don't want Ranger Suarez on anything more than a 2-year deal back here. I love Ranger Suarez, but I don't think his body's going to hold up much longer. So I don't want to get stuck with that, with another bad back-end contract. We really are past the concern point for Nola and Wheeler, but if Sanchez doesn't level up, we are basically left without a great ace. And you lose JT, the chances of Sanchez leveling up again, not high, okay? I like Kingsbury. I don't think that motion under center stuff matters. Guys are do their job or not. Too many Eagles, especially on that O-line, didn't do their job. Absolutely agree with you, Keith. Absolutely agree. Whoever comes in here has to be able to work with Jeff Stoutland to get the offensive line. Has to work with Howie to figure out the personnel on this offense, right? They've got to work on the discipline and the health of this offense massively. I'm still massively concerned with Landon Dickerson's health after his comments on Monday, okay, about his health. There's a lot of question marks on this offense, health-wise, execution-wise, doing their jobs. If Nick Sirianni keep Kevin Patullo, he would have been fired. I don't know if he would have been fired, but he would have been overruled, right? And he might have been overruled and just saved face by making the comments. If Nick Sirianni didn't publicly fire Kevin Patullo, he would have either gotten fired or he would have lost all respect in the locker room when Howie Roseman had to make the statement, okay? Nick Sirianni making the statement of firing him, by him announcing it, that says, look, hey, even my best buddy isn't safe here. And it sends a message to the locker room, look, change has got to happen. We got to get back. Couldn't even get made because it was more the same in the rest of the season. Wife was shocked how calm I was, yeah. I was pretty calm through the collapse, too. Doug, the people I watched the game with were mad as heck. I was like, your wife's shocked, yeah. Look, was I shocked? I don't know. I don't know if the word shocked would fit how I felt after the game. Kind of relieved almost. I heard the Mets offered $488 contract to Ranger Suarez. Maybe they did. I would expect him to get a lot. I would expect him to turn a deal like that down. And even look for a 1-year deal if that's what he's getting offered right now. Bona is a good matchup against some teams, and Drum is a better one against smaller. Yeah, but when you lose Joel Embiid and you're stuck with both of them, whether it's for maintenance or if he gets hurt, that's when this team struggles. When you have to, no matter the matchup, use both those guys, right? So a depth center that can mix in with those two is best bet. What's up, Mitchie Pooh? Good morning to you. JT wants at least a 3-year deal. I wouldn't give him that. No one else is giving to it. So why would we, right? It's 2 or less. 2 years. Give him a 2-year, $30 million deal. Pay him a little bit more. Gan Fangio debacle was we missed out on the guy we wanted. Okay, gotcha, yeah. I have a strong dislike for Blake Snell. That's random. Okay, why? If Jonathan Gannon can get a head coaching job, then Kevin Patullo can do it. That is fair. That's fair. We're up to 17 likes. Guys, there's 21 people in the YouTube room right now. It's 4 of you haven't hit the like button at least. Hit those buttons. It matters. It helps. Hitting the like button grows the algorithm, which gets us in front of more people, which gets the subscriber count up, which gets the views up, which brings in more to the core 12. Let's go. I think Kingsbury is impossible here. we were built to run. They would have to revamp the O-line and the wide receivers. I agree with that as well. You want a guy like Roman or Dable or Monken that doesn't mind running the football. Got to go. Yeah, thanks. I'm glad you checked in, Barb. We miss you here. Check in more frequently. Much rather have Ranger. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think that said Blake Shelton at first. I was going to agree. Nick should have helped with the play calling, but Jalen should also have a play in his back pocket that he can go to anytime. 4th and 11, and the play calling is 4 verticals. Yeah, look, and again, when the video, and I don't know if you saw it, Marshawn, the video circulated around social media Sunday night, Monday morning, somewhere on my Twitter page possibly too, of that last play being called during the timeout. And Jalen Hurts, you can see, does not like the play that Kevin Patullo says. And he looks at Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni's he's like, yeah, I mean, that's what he wants to call. You got to run it. That's when Nick Sirianni should have stepped in, or that's also when we knew instantly that Kevin Patullo was done at that point. He dug his grave, do it, whatever happens, happens. I am going to watch the playoffs. I'm trying to look at the schedule to see. I might stream the Saturday night game, and I might stream one of the Sunday games. I don't know. We'll see what I do this weekend. But of course I'm going to watch the games. What were Dickerson's comments? Landon Dickerson was asked, let me go back into my notes here exactly to get it right, on if he will ever have full recovery or fully healthy again, because he's been injured this year so much, but also his whole career, dating back to the very beginning of college. He had 4 career or season-ending injuries in college. He said, I quote, if I had an answer to that question, I'd feel a lot better right now. So Landon Dickerson himself quoted himself saying, I don't know if we'll ever be healthy again. I don't know if I'll ever be 100% again. All right? And that's scary for a 27, 28-year-old guard that is supposed to be one of the leaders and anchors of this line for the next 5 to 10 years, that we might get more of this year down the line. Really don't think you can do a damn thing until you get a long-term medical prognosis with Juergens and Dickerson. Otherwise, the whole strategy must change. I agree, and it's a massive fear of mine. Massive fear. You think Nick and Kevin are still friends? I mean, I don't think they went out for coffee this morning, Adam. I don't think Kevin texted him, what's up, bro, this morning. Did you check out the latest episode of Fairway to Heaven? I don't think that text message got sent this morning. All of this, we want an adult in the room talk, is absurd to me when Nick is the head coach who won a Super Bowl. Was Ben Johnson an adult when the handshake debacle was Dan Campbell? I think that's a fantastic point, Marshawn. Fantastic point. We see plenty of immaturity from people that are viewed better than Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni is a Super Bowl winning head coach. Plain and simple. I don't think you can carry 4 centers. 4. Is there a 4th one? Oh, because he would be 4th. You're not allowed to have 4 centers? Really? I didn't know that. That's interesting. Well, get a big. You can label him a power forward, okay? List him on your roster. You can list a Dembona as a power forward. He's played the 4 a bunch this year with Embiid on the floor. I think they're fine. KP still needs Nick's recommendation for a position anywhere. Yeah, that's true. The poll question of the day, as expected, other is winning the votes right now on who should be the next offense coordinator. Other is at 36%, okay? Brian Dable is the second on the poll at 32%. Frank Reich, 20%. Todd Monken, 12%. Obviously, other, because there's 12, 15 names. I had to put other. I couldn't just put 4 up there. Not surprised it's winning. But Brian Dable is closing in on that number 1 spot, and I love it. What's up, Xavier? How you doing? We need a better center than Juergens. He's far too fragile. Look, no one was saying that about Juergens after last year. I mean, he was great. He played like a warrior through back pain and played well. Juergens had a shit for season. No doubt about it. Was not probably healthy. Probably. I'm going to give him another chance. But what I'm not going to do is not have a backup option if it's more of the same. Brett Toth isn't my backup option. I'm drafting a guard center combo early in the draft, 3rd, 4th round, that could slide in if Juergens continues to regress or not be healthy. The only way KP gets a head coaching job is by who you know. That's how John Gruden got his job. I mean, maybe. Monken makes the most sense. The most. Did you purposely say the most sense? Look, I like it. I put him number one. I power ranked it on Twitter last night. Monken 1, Roman 2, Dable 3, Reich 4, Kafka 5. Now I'm kind of leaning towards Dable jumping Roman now. It might be Monken and Dable 1, 2, Roman 3. Defense have figured out Kingsbury by the second half of the season. And then they got old and injured and all the problems we knew they were going to have. A coach's kid isn't going to go against a coach's decision. That is very true. That is very true. And we've seen that. We've heard him talk about that before. Okay? He talks about how he's a coach's son all the time. Sirianni and Nick weren't happy. He knew he was gone. Exactly. He knew it was coming. Nick Sirianni can't step in. That's the problem. That there are Madden players out there that have more right to call plays than Nick Sirianni. Yeah, and that's why you need a guy that's called plays. If there was ever such an opposite of you want Philly, it was the moment of those three together with that play call. Absolutely. There is somebody that dubbed over it with the sounds of, yo, you want Philly. And that whole audio, they've dubbed that over that clip, but changed the words Philly to silly. You want silly? Yeah, sure. Let's go for it. They dubbed that over that. And it's pretty spot on. Pittsburgh needs to move up in the draft to draft Mendoza. Got to find a way to do it. Look, I'm not thinking about what Pittsburgh has to do. I'm not a Steelers fan. I think it's shocking that Harbaugh and Tomlin, combined 37 years in the AFC North, both let go at the same time, and Stefanski, 3 or 4 coaches. I get all that. But I don't care what they do, honestly. Phil, rate my Super Bowl prediction. Broncos, Seahawks. Seahawks win. Chalk. That's my rating on it. You just pick the two number 1 seeds. I think the Seahawks have a better chance of getting there than the Broncos. I'll say that. I don't trust the Broncos. Nick's problem isn't that he doesn't have innovative plays. He just doesn't have the IQ to figure out the ebb and flows of the game. Yeah, exactly. You could be a great offensive coordinator and not be a great play caller, by the way. You could be a great offensive mind and not be a great play caller. All those things are possible, for sure. Kendall looked pretty good at center in his one start. Yeah, it was the end start, and I didn't get to pay close enough attention to see that. Really going to run out everyone. Super Bowl winning coach, quarterback, and center. Yeah, no. We're not running any of them out, okay? We're not running any of them out. We do have to be concerned about Cam Jurgens long-term prognosis-wise. We do. We really do. We're inching closer. 977 to start today. Been picking up 4 or 5 a day the last couple of days. Can we do it again? Can we get to 980 today? I mean, we're close. We're close. The biggest question I have is how much of a long-term capital gain success tax Dickerson, Jurgens, and Nolan Smith paid for the ring. I think Smith just lost a lot of key time. Look, I think they have him. We'll get, because of the offense coordinator situation, the free agency stuff is going to get pushed off probably, talk-wise, but and extension-wise and stuff. But we will have a conversation about Nolan Smith, Jalen Phillips, Alex Hunt. You can only keep 2 long-term. Which 2 are you keeping? And there's an argument to be made that Nolan Smith is the one that you let go. Where do you think Pete Carroll goes? Nobody talking about it. I have not heard his name linked to a single job. Pete Carroll, in my opinion, might just retire. I mean, he's in his 70s. I think he's 72 or 74, something like that. Pete Carroll might not even get another opportunity to coach in the NFL. That's just my opinion. Or he'll wait till he gets an opportunity to be a head coach. He's not going to be a DC somewhere. He doesn't strike me as that kind of guy. Rumors are that Nick and Kevin will get matching broken heart tattoos on them. Yeah. It'll be one of those necklaces that you break in half and you each get half of it. And then when you return together, you put them together. Yeah. Steelers just need to trade for a good quarterback, too, for the next 2 seasons. While they figure out the O-line and D-line, they then could go and draft a quarterback next season or the one after that. Or they could trade us their first-round pick for Tanner McKee, right? They could do that, right? But let them have Tanner McKee. Tanner McKee and Kevin Patullo. Let Kevin Patullo be the head coach and Tanner McKee the quarterback there in Pittsburgh. That would be something. I definitely think Smith and Hunt have so much motivation to have career years next year. Yeah, I mean, Jelix Hunt, yeah, definitely Nolan Smith has a lot of motivation. Jelix Hunt, am I crazy to say I have more expectations for Hunt to do that than Smith? I know he's been injured a lot in his career. But that's the thing. He's been injured a lot in his career. So I don't know. I don't know how you extend Nolan Smith. We say we want modern offense, but also want an adult. I think you can have both, Marshawn. I don't think the defensive scheme Vic used against Brock, or I didn't like, gave him plenty time to pocket. I wonder if he had to, since Eagles Hassan Ryan messed his arm up in 22. Look, it was soft. They definitely did not blitz often enough. I only counted like 2 or 3 blitzes. They gave up the middle of the field, and he knew that and picked it apart consistently. I think Vic Fangio needed to pivot at halftime. I think it was obvious how he needed to pivot, and he didn't pivot. And it's a big part of the reason why we lost that game, in my opinion. Look, everything is going to go on the offense, and rightfully so. But the defense wasn't good enough on Sunday. It wasn't. Quinion Mitchell had his worst game of his career in the first quarter. So, Tool's going to be the coffee run person to stay with the Eagles. I did read something funny that he should be he should be kept in the organization, sent to the broom closet where Howie Roseman was sent, and just to sit in the broom closet for the next 3 years. And then in 3 years, when our offense coordinator gets a head coaching job, Patullo comes out a new man, just like Nick Sirianni did in 2017. Or 2016, sorry. Send him to the broom closet. The broom closet leads into Narnia. You can go strut around Narnia for 3 years, self-evaluate himself, go into a dark retreat, and it'll be a magic man again, right? Probably tastes like trash water, yeah. Probably tastes like pee, right? Am I missing anyone? Harper Terschwerber will have the green light to challenge the ABS system. Everyone will have the right to do it, technically. Will Rob Thompson say only these guys can use it? Will teams put rules on when their players are allowed to use it? I don't know. I have to really start digging deep into the thought process of the ABS. I want the ABS. I think it's great that they're bringing it in. I think they're limiting it too much. And I think by next year it'll be expanded upon. So we'll see. Jordan Davis is priority number 1. And while he was who I wanted to draft, I never dreamed he would have turned into someone worth actually trading up for. He actually turned out to be that guy. You know what I love? And I don't know if you saw it, Nooms, floating around social media yesterday or on YouTube. Jordan Davis's interaction after the game with all the players. His post-game locker room speech. He did give a speech. Jordan Davis will have the C on his chest next year. I guarantee you. He will be a captain on this team. This might arguably be Jordan Davis's defense. And going back to the comment a few moments ago about Vic Fangio, the fact that Jordan Davis only played 49% of the snaps when he'd been playing 60, 62 all year, shocking to me. Didn't get enough pressure. We got 0 pressure on Brock Purdy. We had 1 sack, but that was when he slid up in the pocket and got tackled from behind. It was like a 1 or 2 yard loss. So that wasn't good enough either. Okay? I think they should pay Phillips, trade or let Smith go, and give Trot Jr. more snaps. There's a lot to deal. Okay, so Phillips, I agree, should be kept. You could trade him. Nolan Smith's going into his 4th year. You could pick up his 5th year option still. Okay, so that's that. And then maybe trade him. I don't know. Trot Jr., where's his snaps going to go? Are you going to rotate Trot Jr.? Are you letting Nakobe Dean go then? So Trot Jr. and Jahad Campbell have to battle it out for snaps? If Nakobe Dean goes, it's because they're going to let Jahad Campbell start again in that spot. I don't see the hype on Trot Jr. Jordan Davis is that guy, and he's still improving. It's scary to think that another offseason on that Peloton might get him in better shape. Injury issues for Smith, Nolan Smith, that is, are going to be an issue in the long term here. Absolutely. I don't know how you pay him, knowing that he's constantly getting hurt. He's missed significant time in his career early on here. All right? And shoulders and triceps and biceps and things like that. Things you need. as an edge rusher to push off that offensive lineman. They're already deteriorating early in his career. I don't know how you do it. So maybe you do try. You pick up his fifth-year option, and you try to work out a trade with another team. And you're not going to get a first-round pick for him. You might get a fourth or fifth-round pick for him. He is a recent first-round pick. I don't know. But you might have to make a deal for him. Yes, Davis needs to be given that contract. He needs it. He is, and I think he will get it. I do. Saw BG and Campbell around the corner from my house yesterday. Hanging out together, that's good. It's good that Campbell is latching on to Brandon Graham. A legend, okay? Dean is injury-prone. You cycle Trot Jr. and decrease snaps for Dean to keep him healthy. So you're saying keep Dean and still cycle in Trotter over Campbell. And I think that's crazy. I really do. Guys, please, we're still at only 18 likes. It's just trending in the AM on the STT Sports Network. Finally, 1 hour into the show, caught up on the comments. 203 comments in the first hour. Guys, like, subscribe, share. Put it on one of your social media platforms. 23 subscribers from 1,000. Let's get there this week, guys. Please. And if you're watching this on replay, drop your comments. Yesterday, Eric Garr dropped like 4 comments on the replay. Respond to them all. I respond to even the 49ers fans that have been blowing up Friday's preview show. Somehow Friday's preview show is getting like 200 views since the game ended because people want to comment and call us Eagles fans out. But do that, please. I appreciate it. Vote on the poll question. 25 votes in. Who should be the Eagles' next offensive coordinator? Options are, we just got our 26th vote. Brian Dable has tied other as the top answer on the poll question. Monken and Reich still bringing up the rear. Interesting. Jordan Davis is a must-have Eagle, and Dallas Goedert's a priority re-sign. Better draft Sadiq if Dallas ain't retained. Look, I don't know what we do with Dallas Goedert. I really don't. Okay? How we keep him, I have no idea. There's a lot of money that needs to be spent this offseason. Mark Andrews got 3 years, $48 million on the Ravens. Dallas Goedert just had 11 regular season touchdowns and 2 postseason touchdowns in one game. Dallas Goedert bet on himself last offseason. Couldn't get a long-term deal that he liked. Probably got some, just not ones he liked. Took a 1-year deal and might be the top free agent. I mean, I would almost rather have him if I was a team than Kyle Pitts, who's a free agent. He's going to get paid. And I don't know if the Eagles have the money or the resources to pay him. It was a planned thing I had zero idea about. There was a line outside at Primo's, and I was like, "What? Oh, gotcha. Campbell is going to be moved to outside linebacker at the end. I think he gets more blitz and rush snaps. Will get his timing back. Maybe that's what they do. And if that's their plan, then they really have to talk about the edge position. I mean, if that's the plan, you could go into next year with Campbell if they retain Phillips, Hunt, and Nolan Smith and have those as your 4 top pass rushers. Maybe it works. Maybe. I'm not sure. I wasn't overly impressed with Jahad Campbell's pass rush this year. It's taking you far too long to recognize that Jahad Campbell can't play. Yes, Trot Jr. is a better linebacker. Look, through the first 5 or 6 weeks of the year, he was the front runner for Defensive Rookie of the Year. So he obviously was doing something right early this season. Maybe even longer than 5 weeks. When did Nakobe Dean come back? Week 6 or 7? I mean, he wasn't just a bum since day one. He was outplayed by Nakobe Dean for most of the year. Yes. But there's a reason why, he was a first-round pick. Yeah, he fell a little bit in the first round. Obviously, that's a concern. But I don't know. I think you're undervaluing him as a rookie, not just because he didn't have a Quinion Mitchell rookie year. I think you might be devaluing him a little bit. That's my opinion. Goddard will have a top free agent money. Absolutely agree. Goddard was the most consistent player on. He was. He legitly was. And he will easily get a 3-year deal. Easily from somebody. He might get, if Mark Andrews got $348, you got to think Goddard's worth at least 3 for $33, right? And I don't think the Eagles can do that. He can't rush the passer in the NFL. He has physical traits, but he is more meant as a stack back. You can throw him in specialty packages, but he can't handle it. I mean, we're labeling a kid after 1 year, okay? Brandon Graham, 3 years before he became anything, right? You know, not every rookie becomes a stud week one. Chet in the chat. Here is tonight's shameless plug for Philly Press Box Radio tonight. Obviously, one of their regulars, Bleeding Green Nation's Brandon Lee Gouton will be on the show, and Spectrum Flyers and Prism executive Lou Scheinfeld, 7 p.m. right here. That's why you want to like, subscribe, share. Tune in. Two great guests with Chet and Bill. Philly Press Box Radio, 7 p.m. tonight on this channel. Don't miss it. Campbell couldn't handle the run. He couldn't handle the pass rush. He dropped off. Campbell must play vertically with way less hesitation, and he isn't good at certain things, sure, but he's a rookie, okay? Rookie. That defensive rookie talk was media hype. No, I mean, I saw the odds on DraftKings. I considered betting it, honestly. I did consider it, betting it, because I do remember seeing it. How he dropped the ball in last year's draft by not drafting a tight end in a tight end rich draft. That is very possibly. I mean, look, Rick, I have not been afraid to say it. Howie did not have a great offseason last year. Clearly did not have a great offseason last year. He didn't draft well on the offensive line. He missed the tight end. Campbell and Makuba didn't produce like Hugh and Coop, which isn't always possible. Ty Robinson and Mac McWilliams, their mid-round picks, barely saw the field, if at all. I think he definitely missed the boat on a couple guys last year. BGN, Eagles were reportedly considered Cliff Kingsbury, Kevin Stefanski. Yeah, that's what he's going to talk about. Brandon Lee Gouton from BGN. Yeah. Campbell will develop into a great linebacker in this league. I still have faith. I think the raw traits, the raw athleticism is there for Jahad Campbell, Rick. I do. I really do. And I think people are unfair to potentially write him off or say he doesn't have X, Y, or Z skill sets 1 year into his career. I'm not saying he definitely 110% will be a great linebacker in this league. But I still would rather him out there than Trot Jr. at this point. There were good tight end options in the third, fourth, and fifth round, Duck. Absolutely. As it stands, Campbell is decent tweener pass coverage linebacker. He has the physical traits to improve. And that's the key. He has the physical traits to improve. There's no question about it. That's all. How he has his work cut out for him this offseason more than most. I agree. I agree. Yeah, way too soon to give on Campbell and Makuba. Look, Drew Makuba was starting to show something before he got hurt. He was. Drew Makuba has potential. Who's going to be the safety opposite of him next year? That's another question. That's another thing we have to figure out. I thought Campbell was going to be an edge. He was going to be a hybrid was the talk when we drafted him. Sometimes on the edge, sometimes in the middle. He was going to bounce around. Makuba looked good, but Epps' vet eye really helped it. Yeah, it did until it did in the playoffs. What's up, Mr. Larry Jackson? Can I call you LJ? Sign Epps over Blankenship this offseason if we got to choose between the two. I mean, based off the play the last 5-6 weeks of the year, probably the right answer there. Makuba stinks. Again, rookie, okay? Rookie. Vic Fangio's defense. We're writing a kid off after, how many games did he play this year? 10 games? I think it's far too soon to say any rookie. You don't hear me saying Ty Robinson stinks. Was it a miss? Sure. Could we have gotten something else that might have helped this year? Sure. But I'm not writing off Ty Robinson. I'm not writing off Mac McWilliams. I'm not writing off Cam Williams. I'm not writing off anybody from that draft class yet. We just didn't get instant production from them. Blankenship shouldn't be a starter for the Eagles, but he's a starter for half the teams in the league. Agreed. Trotter is way more seasoned linebacker, way better at playing downhill. I mean, again, we really don't know that. Most of Trotter's snaps are against backups or meaningless football games. He's not much more experienced than Tanner McKee is at quarterback. What would you rate Howie's draft this past season? C+, with the potential to be better. C+. I think that's fair. Good. Got it. I'm going to just say it. It's just easier than saying Larry. LJ. He stunk in all 10 games. I disagree on that. I don't think he stunk in all 10 games. Blankenship doesn't have the physical talent to play the way he does without a solid vet eye back there to allow him to play out of position. Yeah, I agree. I don't disagree with this. Dable has overtaken other. So with the dozen other options, Brian Dable has overtaken other as who the listeners want as the next Eagles offense coordinator. 29 votes in, he is up to 38% of the vote. Wow. Love to see that. Love to see that happening right there. Yeah, C minus, C plus. I think C plus is a fair number because if you see, the thing is, I won't label anybody from the draft a bust. I won't because it's too soon to do that. Now, 3 years from now, we may be saying C minus or D plus. 3 years from now, we might be saying B plus A. You can never evaluate a draft properly until 3 years later. Okay? I'll tell you what I do know. They need to get rid of that corny Jackson immediately. Adoree Jackson, yeah, he's on a one-year deal. He'll probably be gone. Robinson was incredibly disappointing this year, as was most of the draft. It's still early, but just great on this season alone. It's a C minus. Yeah, on this season alone, yeah, C minus, right? But knowing you can't properly judge a player for at least 3 years, that's why I say C plus, with the potential to go down to C minus or up to B plus. Hell yeah, I'm number 2. Yeah. Dable is a jackass. Keep that energy out of here. Trust me. I disagree. I think Brian Dable would be a good fit here. And still one of my top choices. Jackson played decently. You know, honestly, Adoree Jackson will get a lot of hate this offseason. He got a lot of hate all season long. I absolutely think hate on him is unnecessary. Honestly, I would bring him even back next year if it was for the right deal. Who is going to be cornerback 2? And don't tell me the draft. Cornerback 2 might be on this team. Can Michael Carter play it? Mac McWilliams? Keely Ringo? I'm just kidding. I don't know. But I'm not drafting a cornerback in round 1, 2, or 3. So they're going to have to figure that out. And Cooper DeJean said, leaving the locker room on Monday to media, after he packed up his locker, he prefers to stay inside. He wants to stay a slot corner. Just so you know. Makuba had a few coverage breakdowns, but otherwise was decent enough to start in the league, especially angles with pursuit. The guy wasn't Jaquan Jarrett. Man, I forgot about him. That guy was bad. Jackson was better than Ringo or Bennett. What the fuck? Bennett was a waste. We gave up Thomas Booker. I don't know if he had a good season, Thomas Booker, or not with the Raiders. The Raiders stunk. But you gave up Bennett for Bennett or Booker for Bennett, and that was just a wasted trade right there. Wasted trade. We all know Keely Ringo stinks. That is the most obvious thing in the world. Now that football is over, I'm sick of winter. I'm ready for spring and baseball. I agree. Once our season's over with the Eagles, then we're stuck in the winter doldrums. Bennett was more handsy than a high school boy at a dance. Yeah. I get, yeah. Dable only looked half decent at Bama because Saban was there and most of the best players in the country. And he did a great job developing Josh Allen into one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. Let's not write off his time developing Josh Allen either. You're right, bro. I'm not going to get Adoree Jackson no hate. Maybe because look, he was not good, right? He was not a really good cornerback, obviously. He was a downgrade from Darius Slay last year. Definitely. Yeah, we would have preferred Isaiah Rodgers here. I get it. But I think in the situation, he performed well enough, in my opinion. People that take a glance at PFF would think Bennett was a very good cornerback. Fact is, he really couldn't take to the system. Bennett trade made me shake my head. Look, I had Raiders fans commenting on my post when the trade happened, and they all told me we were going to hate the idea very quickly. How he got a hit on Milton Williams, Morris Jomo level players in the draft. You think we need a defensive tackle Or are you just saying that type of success, mid to late round picks that exceed? Or do you think we need a D tackle as well, Marshawn, in that? I don't think we need a D tackle right now, at least early in the draft. But we do need successful hits on those 4th and 5th round picks for sure. You're right. I'm not going to give Dory any hate. Okay, gotcha. Josh Allen developed himself. Dude is a beast. I'm not giving to you. Gotcha. You pick and choose so much. The fan base want Andy Reid at OC, Lombardi at head coach, and Brady as quarterback 1. Exactly. And then they'd still probably complain about that. Dable got Tua looking good enough to be a first rounder and Allen to be a first rounder. Exactly. Deion Sanders at cornerback 2. Ed Reed would say, oh, yeah. I mean, that seems reasonable, right? The way Adoree played the run this year, with the exception of that Josh Allen stop, was awful. I mean, he wasn't fond of taking hits. Yeah, I mean, that was a problem. But most cornerbacks are. Dable developed Danny Dimes because he looked a whole lot better when he left Dable and played under Steichen. I get it. That's fine. And that's fair. That is one of his misses. The Giants were a dreadful organization, and he was the head coach during that dreadful organization's run. I get it. Speaking to men in the secondary, Ringo, Bennett, Jackson have no business on next year's team. The Eagles must find a cornerback 2, competent like you. Yeah, I agree. But you can't do it in the draft. How long will Tyron's experiment go on? I mean, at least more than 1 year. You can't give up on him after 1 year. Aaron Donald and Warren Sapp at D-tackle. Yeah, I mean, you know, they got to get at least one of those, Marshawn. They can't let it go. What would you like to talk about the Sixers? The Sixers have been discussed today. Not at length, but you give me your Sixers question or comment, and I'll address it. I want to talk Sixers. I want to talk Phillies, too. I want to keep them mixed into the storyline. Absolutely. Absolutely mix them into the conversation. Mitchie Poo, you give me, there's a VCP, you give me the question. I'll give you the answer. I have no problem with that. Dabble equals Kotite. Well, Kotite was a decent OC, right? Before he became the head coach, and he bombed as the head coach. You think Brady will ever coach, or is he fine at announcing? I think it's an interesting question, Adam. I'm not sure. The thing with Tom Brady is he has this unbridled, motivation to he always wants to compete. He's got this, unbelievable determination to always compete and be the best. Does announcing scratch that itch of competition for him? Most elite quarterbacks would just, like a Peyton Manning, enjoy doing commercials, announcing, doing whatever. Tony Romo, not an elite quarterback, but a quarterback, enjoys it, whatever. But I think I don't know if he wants to coach or not. But the itch to do something competitive, and at his age, coaching would be that competitive fire. He might want to coach. And I wouldn't be, if he says I wouldn't mind being a head coach, teams would drool over the idea. So I think if he wants to, he'll get the opportunity. And I wouldn't be shocked. He might not want it now. But at some point, he might want it. Fan base want Kelsey at center, Jason Peters at right tackle. Nobody's good enough. Nobody's ever good enough. Sixers are the real deal. Don't be shocked to see them make a deep playoff run. It is Tyrese Maxey's team. But this team's long-term success, a deep playoff run, whatever that is to you, second round, third round, championship, whatever it is, only happens if Joel Embiid stays healthy. Or healthy-ish, right? So it's a real weird situation. It's Maxey's team now. But the long-term success still relies solely on Joel Embiid. It's a really weird thing. Brady does own a percentage of the Raiders. And he's a minority owner, I believe. And I think to coach, he would have to probably sell that. I'm not sure if he could coach the Raiders if he wanted to as the owner, though. What Sixers players do you think is most likely to be traded? I would be okay with no trades, period. And we're going to have Sean Bernard on Monday morning. Obviously, we love Sean Bernard on this show. Great Sixers insight always. I'd be okay with no trades, personally, okay? But if they do make a trade, I want another center, okay? I want more depth at center. The only guys I'm trading are expiring contracts and certain guys. I would trade Justin Edwards, but there's little value there. Eric Gordon's got a little value as an expiring contract. And maybe Jarrett McCain. But I'm losing interest in trading Jarrett McCain because Quentin Grimes is going to be a free agent after this year. And if Quentin Grimes walks, Jared McCain slots in instantly as your top guard off the bench. So if you trade McCain, you better be able to keep Quentin Grimes long term. So I'm not making much trades. I don't really put, outside of some back-end guys on the trade block, I'm not trading Kelly Oubre and Jarrett McCain and a first-round pick for an elite player. I have a feeling this draft is going to be a bore and filled with a bunch of O-line picks. And that's okay. That's not boring to me because I understand the importance of that, Steve, because that is what's important. I have faith that the Sixers make the playoffs and will get through the first series. I have no expectations, and I'm going to stick to no expectations, right? But deep down inside, I'm starting to feel a little hype. Minority owner. Yes, he's a minority owner of the Raiders. 76ers are more fun to watch than the Eagles right now. Well, the Eagles aren't playing football anymore, so they're more fun by default right now. I hope we don't give up on McCain. Look, it's not that we're giving up on McCain, like thinking that he can't get back to his rookie form. The thing is, you have 4 guards. You don't need 4 startable guards on a team. I mean, I guess it's like pitching. You can never have too much depth, etc. The reasons why I like you, still think McCain has got talent. I would put McCain down in the blue coach right now, right? Let him get reps. He's not doing anything here, right? And then when you lose Grimes in the offseason, you've got McCain. Or somebody goes down, you've got McCain ready to step up. Kotite sucked at everything. Probably. Jalen better spend time with Brady, Peyton this summer. Yeah. I mean, he does spend time with him. Maybe he just needs to spend more. Reich should be the hire here. Perfect fit for the team. I think Reich, I mean, he's number 4 on my power rankings, Rick, which is still good. I also say Frank Reich is the safest pick. And I really believe it's a safe choice. Don't think he's got intentions to be a head coach anymore. You know he's got a solid offense. Can he modernize it a little bit or pivot it a little bit to fit Jalen Hurts' skill sets? Maybe. He's been around long enough to have the knowledge how to figure it out. So, yeah. And he would bring some credence to what he says and does. There'd be some value to what he says and does. So, not the worst idea. The Sixers are on fire right now, and I hope it continues. As long as Joel stays healthy. To be fair, Mitch, Eagles, exactly. Maxey is the Mark Recchi of the NBA. Always catching defenders off guard by shooting off the wrong foot. Love that. Haven't heard Mark Recchi's name in a long time. One, a black offense coordinator, no reason, just a black guy. Okay. Is there a black offense coordinator available right now? Actually, I think either the New England passing game coordinator or the Lions passing game coordinator might be a black guy. Thomas Brown or David Shaw, black guy. Byron Leftwich, you can throw his name into the ring. If you want that, there you go. Leave Frank Reich alone. Rank is happy wherever he is. We saw what Rank did to Bryce Young and Wentz and Matt Ryan. It's fair. It's fair. Trade Maxey for Luka. Brady won't become a head coach because he doesn't want to deal with Brady-like players. Yeah, that's possible. That's a maybe. There's always a possibility like that. Flyers looked tough the past 2 games, but don't sleep on them. They got a ton of talent. They'll be a playoff team. I have no doubt that the Flyers will be a playoff team. Whether I've not put expectations on them that they have to win in the playoffs, but I guess I have put playoff expectations on the Flyers. Deep down inside, Edgecombe is better than Flag. No doubt that, Adam. Easily. Definitely need to start rebuilding the O-line in the next couple of drafts. Absolutely. Landon Dickerson's shelf life is short. Cam Jurgens might be short. Lane Johnson's almost out of here. Tyler Steen, he's okay. Jordan Mailata, hopefully he improves upon the regression he had this year. Sixers win the East. I was just looking at the NBA standings before the show. Funny you say that. They are only 6 games behind Detroit. They're only 2.5 games behind the 2 spot and the Knicks. Eastern Conference standings, it's they could get home court advantage in the first or second round. And could they win the East? They might be able to if they stay healthy. My O-line player, Pierce, got a futures contract. He did. Holland Pierce did get we'll go into them on the Eagles check down. I have that listed as today's notes. All the futures deals the Eagles gave out. I like McCain, but he will probably get traded. He doesn't have a spot here. He doesn't have a spot here right now, right, Rick? But again, Quentin Grimes, I almost said Quentin Mitchell. Quentin Grimes is a free agent at the end of the year, unrestricted free agent at the end of the year, okay? You trade McCain, then you better find a way to keep Grimes, and he's going to want $20, $25 million a year, like he did this offseason. You can let Grimes go if you keep McCain. That's just my opinion. And I'm not giving up. I still think what he was doing last year is in that person somewhere. He just needs regular minutes to get back into a flow. Then the Eagles went to the Super Bowl, the elite O-line and D-line play. Invest in the trenches. Where was the Brooks Melton signing? Exactly. And I've been preaching this since 1990, 1988, whenever I started caring about football. O-line and D-line. Trench warfare. That is how you win. And they failed at it this year. Going to need when someone gets hurt. Going to need them when someone gets hurt. Exactly. Someone will sprain an ankle at some point. Where was the Reddick-Hargrave level signing? Bryce Huff was an anomaly signing. Well, they didn't have a signing like that, but they did have a trade for Jalen Phillips, and he did disappear for the most part. If teams knew Edgecombe was going to shoot as well as he is, I think he would have been the number one pick. I don't know if he would have been the number one pick over Cooper Flagg, but he might have been the number two pick over Dylan Harper. I don't know how Dylan Harper's actually doing this year. We don't need a safe pick for OC. I want the best. I don't want the best, and I don't want safe. I want the best fit to maximize Jalen Hurts. And that's why Greg Roman and Todd Monken, pick or choose, are in play there. That's why Brian Dable is in play there. That's what I want. Best fit for Jalen Hurts and the personnel on this team. Best fit for Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. Best fit with our wide receivers. Keith, I've been saying this for 2-3 weeks, McCain. He should be in every Blue Coats game, getting 30 minutes a game. He can still come up here and sit on our bench and get 5 or 10 minutes. You need to go get him 30 minutes 5 times. Let him feel the ball in his hands for more than 5 minutes. Let him feel the ball going through the hoop more than once a game. It would be massive. Where is Eric Bieniemy these days? I'm writing his name down, not as a candidate, but just as a curious thing. I want to look up Eric Bieniemy, where he was this past. Wasn't he in college this past year? Watch Foles break down the Eagles tape. Watch what Jason Avant says about the Eagles. What did they say? Tom Brady had just beat or Tampa Bay just beat the Avalanche. They're just on fire right now. Reich was a major piece of the Eagles winning their first Super Bowl. Dable hasn't contributed to winning shit in this league. I need to see how he invests in the trenches, not just through the draft. I need to see difference makers signing. Brooks, Reddick, Hargrave, Mathis type signings. We've only got so much money this year right now. Okay? And there's a lot of holes to fill. But invest in the trenches. It makes sense, right? Did you go to Rutgers, Duck? I don't know what that is. Dable has never been part of an organization like the Eagles. Reich shit the bed in Indiana and Carolina. That's both true statements. Did we come up with a team name for the upcoming WNBA team? I think they did. I forget. I already forgot about it. Sorry. Is Nick Nurse job safe? Right now it is safe. And so probably, scarily, is probably Daryl Morey's job safe as well. Your Pierce is fascinating. What? That's hard. Say that 5 times fast. I can't say it once. Philly heartbreak equals new WNBA team. Yeah. Harper is a very solid player on a very good team. I haven't really paid enough attention to know. I think I heard he wasn't even a starter regularly on the team. I meant best fit OC. That's what I was trying to say. Gotcha. We need the best fit. Okay? That is going to maximize Jalen Hurts' strengths. Look what Reich did with Foles. Yeah. 2 best games of Foles' career. Dable actually took the Giants in the divisional round against us. Reich missed the playoffs everywhere he went as a head coach. appears that Dable done more winning as a head coach than Frank. If Dable was that good, he would have turned the Giants around instead of made them worse. Dude is a hack. Look, seems like the voters are leaning Brian Dable. Okay? It doesn't mean he's the right choice. And I get what, Marsha, I lean your way, right? But I understand what Rick's saying as well. I get Brian Dable. I think there is risks in hiring him. Is he more like Buffalo or Alabama? Or is he more like he was with the Giants? Which one would you get? I'd like to think that him not having head coaching responsibilities, you'd get a better offensive coordinator out of him. I don't think he'll have a lot of head coaching suitors over the next 2 to 3 years. I think coming to Philly would give him an opportunity to rebuild his reputation so he eventually can be a head coach. Final poll, we're at 31 votes. Brian Dable, 35%. Other 32%. Frank Reich, 19%. Todd Monken, a low 13%. Howie knows better than to bring Dable in here. It ain't going to happen. I don't know about that. You know what would be funny if Harbaugh goes to the Steelers and Tomlin goes to the Ravens? That would be pretty comical, honestly, Mitchie Poo. Reich was blessed with the number 1 pick quarterback and Wentz, who could still play, and he missed the playoffs. Frank is happy in Stanford. He's not in Stanford anymore. And by the way, Mitchie Poo, I don't know if you saw it, but you can't just sign Tomlin to the Ravens. You'd have to trade. Mike Tomlin's a free agent, so he has to be traded for if anybody wants him as their head coach, just so you know. I'm not sure. I've seen a few names bouncing around, but it doesn't look like any of these teams are interviewing major coaching names from the college ranks, from what I've seen report-wise. So you can only hire an offensive coordinator that's won a Super Bowl. That eliminates that eliminates McDaniels, that eliminates Kingsbury. That eliminates a lot of guys, just so you know. Anyway, I got to wrap this up, guys. I got a lot of shit to do today. Obviously, we'll have the Eagles check down tonight. Philly Press Box Radio tonight. Brandon Lee Gouton will be on the show with Bill and Chet. Don't miss that at 7 tonight. I'll have the check down at some point late this afternoon, early tonight. If any breaking Phillies news happens, I will get it out there as well. I feel Howie makes a trade at safety. A trade at safety. I like that. I don't think there's a lot of great free agents, but safety is an upgraded position that's needed. Safety, he doesn't draft early. I could see him drafting or trading a safety. That makes sense. Hire an OC with a proven track record in this league. Dable does, and I've already proven that. Another great show. Let's go. Let's go, Adam. Thank you very much. Absolutely. Bubbles up. Frank won as a coordinator, not as a head coach, which would fit the Brian Dable narrative. Please win. Anyway, let's wrap this baby up. Let's put a nice bow in it. Like, subscribe, share if you have not, guys. Back live tomorrow, 8 a.m. Plus, like I said, Eagles check down later this afternoon. And, of course, Philly Press Box Radio at 7 p.m., guys. Don't miss any of the action. Like, share, subscribe. Epps and Makuba, maybe. Anyway, guys, wrap this up. Everybody have a great day. Maybe you'll hear from me sooner rather than later if the Phillies make a deal. But if not, we'll talk tomorrow, guys. Everybody have a great day. Go Birds. And bubbles up.